Hello, everybody, welcome back to my channel. And I'm here today to talk about the best books of 2024. Honestly, 2024 has been quite a crazy reading reading year. I've read, I think so far, it is not the end of the year, and I'm still hoping to finish two books by the end of the year. And I think I read 161 books so far this year. I hope next year I can be a little bit more relaxed in reading and not reading so much. I have compiled around 10 books and some honorable mentions to talk to you about today and maybe give you a little bit of a recommendation for your TBR. So let's get into it. I think I want to start with the honorable mention. So the first one on my honorable mention list, I have three books there, and I'm just gonna talk to you about it real quick. First is One Dark Window. I don't have the physical copy right now because a friend of mine is borrowing it, but One Dark Window is honestly such a good fantasy book. The atmosphere that you get from that book is like none other. It's about a world or a region that is surrounded by mist because of a curse. And the magic system in this world is quite unique and quite interesting. I've never really read anything like it. It is fully based on this deck of cards, and they all have their own set of powers. And for example, there is a card called the Nightmare card. The way you use it is you tap the cards and then you can use the power. But by using too much power from the cards, you just gonna get like really horrible side effects. But yeah, you tap the cards and then you can talk to other people through their minds, which is quite an interesting thing. And I think in total there are like 13 something different cards. And we are following our main character Elspeth, who touched the Nightmare card a long time ago, and instead of being able to use it, she absorbed the ability. She absorbed the Nightmare. So now the Nightmare lives inside her. And yeah, so we're pretty much in these two books. It's a duology. It's One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. Nightmare lives inside of Elspeth. And the more Elspeth uses Nightmare's ability, the more she will lose part of herself, and Nightmare will take more control of her body. So it's like a race against time kind of thing, because she lives in a very violent world, I want to say. So she has to use it quite often. So it is quite dangerous for her. And so pretty much this whole book is just her adventure in trying to figure out why the mist is like that, like the actual truth and not like the fake history that the king has laid out for all the citizens. And also like a race against time, because she is slowly but surely dying in a way. So it is quite a interesting book. I would 100% recommend you picking it up because it is like none other. I still think about it sometimes. I love the second book as well. So it's only a duology, so it's quite short and it's quite compact. Second honorable mention is Carrie Soto is Back. I have the book over here. I honestly don't delve into the fiction genre that often, but I have been picking up this series from Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is I think the California Dreams, if I'm not wrong, the series called. And I've read everything, and I've been putting it off for reading Carrie Soto for quite a while until I finally picked it up, because I've heard so many not good reviews about this book. They say either you love this book or you hate this book, and obviously, if it's here, I love the book. I think I gave it a 5-star, and I think wholeheartedly I would give it a 5-star. But just compared to the ones in my list, it's just different caliber of 5 stars for me. But anyway, this book is about Carrie Soto, who is the ultimate best tennis player in the world, and she's known for being quite arrogant because she knows what she can do. And nobody really likes her. So pretty much this book is going from whenever she's very young to where we are where we are right now, which is 94, when she's 37 years old. And for an athlete, that is quite a old age to be still competing. But we just saw how much work she puts into being such a great tennis athlete. And she is ultimately the best player in the world until one point she retires. And we see it through all the trainings that she had, because she had pretty much gave everything away to tennis, and it is quite insane how obsessed she is with tennis. And but 6 years into her retirement, she came back to the tennis world because she has the world record of beating 22 Grand Slams, I think. And there's this other girl called Nikki Chan, and she is threatening it. She almost beat her. So that's why she decided, okay, I'm gonna come back to keep my world record in place. And with that, we just see the heartbreak, the hardship, everything that she has to go through. I have no interest whatsoever in tennis. I don't know anything about tennis. But after reading this, I think I have quite a few idea on what tennis is. So don't be put off. Just pick it up. It is such a good read. I know a lot of people also love the other books in the series, like Daisy Jones and the Six, Malibu Rising, or The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I would recommend you pick up all 4 books. They are quite crazy, and something about just Taylor Jenkins Reid writing style is just so addicting and so good and so inspiring for some reason. So I would recommend you picking this one up. And the third book in my honorable mentions list is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I loved this series so much, and this is honestly one of my first YA mystery that I've ever read ever, and it is quite insane. If you don't like reading, and if you're just watching this video for fun, if you have one book that would help you read, it's probably this book. It's so fast-paced, it's so intriguing, and I just love it. It's about Pip, who's a high school student, and she is writing her final essay, I think, if I'm not wrong, and she decided for this research she's gonna delve into the town's mystery, which is the murder of Andy Bell, which is like her senior, I think. So she delved into it, and she found things that are not quite right, and the police just brush it off. So she is going above and beyond. But yeah, and it's crazy how much the truth is buried. And then whenever the ending was revealed, I did not see it coming. And I really, really love all 3 endings that she has in this series. And so I want to say pick this one up because it's a goodie. So finally, let's get into my actual list. I have 10 books in this list, so let's just get into it before it gets way too long. And also, the order of the books that I mentioned is no way indicating that it's more of my favorite than the other. They all are my favorites, and I cannot choose if I need to choose one of them over the other. So let me just present to you the first one, which is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I love this book so much. I love the main characters, Brianna and Jacob. I still think about this sometimes. And with someone who struggles a little bit with anxiety, I think I truly can relate with Jacob. I truly can depict it in a way whenever he has his anxiousness or his panic attack. I fully relate. And besides that, Brianna is just such a funny main character, such a strong female lead, and the relationship that they have is so wholesome. And because he's so anxious about saying the right things, he never really said the right things, so he decided to write letters to Brianna to fully just talk it out with some things that is going on here. It's very sweet. It's a little bit about enemies to lovers, and yeah, I don't think I want to tell you more about this book. You just have to pick it up. Any Abby Jimenez's book, just pick it up, and I think you'll understand. And I know this series, I think there's 3 books in general. It's a companion series, so there is Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and Just for the Summer. And I think Yours Truly might be my favorite. I know a lot of people said Just for the Summer is their favorite, and I understand, I fully understand, but I think specifically because I could relate with the characters, I just think this one is my favorite. So yeah, Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I think I would just like to continue with the romance book, and I have Out on a Limb. I love this one. It's so hilarious. I think towards the end it got a little bit boring. Not boring in a sense, but I know with romance books that's always this 3rd act conflict, 3rd act breakup, and this book actually doesn't have it. And towards the end of the book, I was like, we have 50 pages left. Where is the third act conflict? And there just wasn't. I think that it was a bit boring because I was expecting it, even though I didn't necessarily like third act conflict, but I was waiting it because it's just the template of romance books. But it is quite refreshing not having it. But it startled me a little bit. But this book is about Bo and Win. I went into this book pretty blind, so I honestly have no idea about what's gonna happen. But this book is about Win and Bo. They met in a Halloween party and then they hit it right off from the bat, and then they had a one-night stand, and then she got pregnant, and it's pretty much about their story trying to figure out what to do with this pregnancy, with this baby to come. And the book is so honestly wholesome. Bo is such a good male character, and I just really enjoyed it. And this book is so funny. I laugh out loud reading this book. I think I read this book in one whole sitting on the plane, so it is really, really good. Banter that they have and the way Bo cared for her, I just really truly enjoy this. I definitely want to reread this next year for sure. And the tabs that I have, I don't know if you can see it, quite a bit. So I know a lot of people, they say it's too cheesy, too corny. I feel like personally it's not cheesy or corny whatsoever. It's just perfect balance of witty humor, romance, and just pick it up. Please pick it up. Anyway, the next book that I have on this list is none other than The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I don't even think I have to talk much about this book. This book is so well known and everybody loves it. This is about Addie. She struck a bargain because she's trying to gain her freedom. It is back in the 1700s, so the view on women in that time is very horrible, let's just say it. And then she was about to get married, and she did not want to be married, so she struck a bargain with this devil. The devil obviously twisted the rules and twisted the deal whatsoever. I won't tell you what the deal is, so you can just figure it out pretty by yourself, because it is quite an interesting read. And I know this book has no plot, but honestly, it's all about the characters anyway. It's so good. But yeah, after 300 years of living, she got into this turning point where she has to decide what she wants to do. Yeah, I won't tell you more about it because it is such a compelling story. It's such a dazzling story. It's such a beautiful story about life, about femininity. I know I'm not giving the best summary about this book. I know a lot of people who read this book came back into reading because specifically of this book. So if that is not a good review whatsoever, I don't know what is. So please pick this one up. This one is definitely one of the 6-star reads of my life. So the next book I have is The Starless Sea. I truly enjoyed this book. After finishing the book first time around, I've only read it once, I was so confused with this book because what was the ending? But I don't think it's about the ending. I think it's about the story itself. So it's about Zach, who stumbled upon this book that details about his life, about the things that he experienced. I don't think there's there's a plot really. I think the plot is just Zach finding out there's a book about him, and that's it. And you just have to go through this adventure and just find out what things are, because yes, things are very convoluted and things are very confusing and things are very whimsy and you don't really know what's happening really, but it's such a good story. And her writing style is so lyrical, is so beautiful. And before a chapter starts, usually there is a short story that I really, really, really love. This short stories are in the book that Zach found, and obviously in different chapters there are different stories, obviously short stories, but then slowly but surely we get to know these characters, and I really quite love the short stories that we have over here. But the titles of the short stories are just so whimsical that I have to tell you. For the first one is Sweet Stars, and then another one is Fortune and Fable, and another one is The Star Merchant. It's such a good book, and I love some whimsy books, and this book is a very whimsy book here. I heard so many people talk about this series in general, and I just never have been like really that intrigued. But at one point I was like, you know what, I need to know what's happening and I really want to read something from this author. So I picked up their graphic novel, and it is none other than the Heartstopper series. Honestly, the whole series in general is a 6-star for me. It's such a good, I just don't know how to tell you. It's about Nick and Charlie as they go through life, as they go through high school together, as they trying to figure out their sexuality really. And my favorite book in the series is volume 4. It's just, this book is so deep and it's really touching, and I fully relate with what Charlie is going through. I'm not a book crier. I've said that so many times, but this book made me cry. Oh, maybe then I am a book crier if I said it so many times. Yeah, I will be sad when volume 6 is out, and that would be the last volume in this series. But I haven't read any of her novels, so I will try and pick it up this year / 2025. So we have 3 more books in the list. Let's get into it. So the next book that I have is the Throne of Glass series. My favorite one in the series is Empire Storms. This series is such a massive series. It's such an epic tale about this world, honestly, about her, about the character. It started off in a land where there's no magic, and there's this assassin in this underworld called Selena Serdothian. She's a vicious thing, and she has no love for the king who's currently ruling the world. But as she came into the castle, which is the glass castle, she just figured out there's something so wrong in the castle that is there to kill. And so we started off the series like that, and towards the end of the book, so much character development and so many characters that you're gonna see that is so lovable, that is so like that you hate them but you love them either way, because these are the characters that make her who she is. I would 100% suggest you picking this book up, because you will never guess what adventure you will be going on. Anyway, you will be in for a treat. Let's go into a series that everybody has talked about, everybody loved, everybody read this a while ago, and I'm so late to the bandwagon, but I'm here nonetheless. I read it. It is the Cruel Prince series. I honestly thought that I will not enjoy this book, but I did a small readathon where I read this in like a week or so, or I think a few days. I read the whole 3 books in a few days. Let me show you Wicked King. 1 second. I tapped it quite a lot. I loved Wicked King, and I love the Queen of Nothing. Yes, the first one is a lot of world building, a lot of like getting to know our characters. If I need to choose what my favorite one in the series, I think it might be Queen of Nothing or the Wicked King. I cannot choose. I love the series. I think you've heard so many things about this series already, but I will still explain to you a little bit what this book is about. This book is about Jude, who is mortal. She's human. Her father and her mom got murdered, and she got taken away by a fairy into the fairyland. And I think just the world, the depiction of the world, the Folk of the Air series is just quite amazing. Yeah, because she's a mortal in a fairy world, she is not really accepted, but she still persevered through that. She has become one of the best at fighting, and she can even defeat Face, which has infinitely better senses than a mortal could have. Pretty much this series is about her surviving the fairy court. And finally, the last book in this list is another mystery. I'm not so much of a mystery reader, but the mystery that I do read that has such a satisfying ending, or such a just a good mystery in general, it's probably gonna make it up to my like best books of the year, and it's none other than The Naturals. I think a lot of people know Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is the author of this book, from the Inheritance Game series. It's so well known. I love that series too, but I think personally I love The Naturals more. Something about Jennifer Lynn Barnes is that she has such short chapters, and her books are quite short, so it's very fast-paced. Pretty much this book is about Cassie, who has this power, I guess, like subtle power. She naturally can just profile people, and so she got recruited by the FBI to do this program, which is called The Naturals, where it's about kids who has this natural powers. And for example, I think in total there are 5 people, including Cassie. Cassie is a natural profiler, and there's Dean, who's also a natural profiler, And there is, oh, I don't remember the names anymore, guys, but there's another one that is a lie detector. There is one who can read people's emotions, and the other one is a walking statistic, but it's about them. And in each of the book, there's 4 books in the series. They have their own set of mysteries that intertwine with the main characters. Like underneath all 4 of these books, we have this major mystery that we're also trying to solve. If you are looking for a short and fast-paced mystery series, I would definitely recommend The Natural. I think the whole series in general is a 6-star reads for me. It is quite a little bit creepy at some point because they have this short, like 1-page chapter where it is in the point of view of the killer, and it is quite disturbing, but it just makes you more immersed in the world, and I really enjoyed what that did to the story for sure. So yeah, that's The Naturals for you. And with that, those are the 2024 best book in my opinion. 2024 was such a good reading year for me. I've discovered so many new authors as well, and I hope that 2024 was also a really good reading year for you guys. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you had a wonderful holiday season, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.